Our next speaker is someone that always speaks with measured wisdom and has always something beautiful to hear. Please welcome Cici Chow.
Thank you. Bonjour, mes amis. Hi, friends. My name is Cici, and my pronouns are she and her. I am a Turtle Island-born Chinese, late in life realized transgender woman living in Treaty 7 territory. And it's an honor to be here with y'all in coming together in community. I think maybe we don't need more trans visibility at this particular moment. We, the trans people in this land, especially trans feminine people of color, are already hyper visible. Conservatives see us and they hate us. Policymakers see us and they rule us out of the way. The government of Alberta sees us and legislates away our rights. It's not fair to ask us for more visibility. No, we don't need any more trans visibility, but I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Can I tell you a story? I kind of have the mic for a little while, so. It's a true story. It's my story. This is a story of a trans girl. And a boy. A story of meeting, a story of coming together. It sounds cute, right? And it is, I promise. This is a story of joy, but it's also a story of heartbreak. We met through social media 5 years ago. I was 44 and he was younger, but not young. I was in the early days of my transition, and it was an everyday occurrence for me to have horrible, hateful encounters with bad people on the internet. So I was just a little cautious. But he messaged me first. He seemed respectful, kind, easy to talk to, and one thing led to another. And he asked to meet in person. I was wary, but offered him a socially distanced coffee. It was the COVID social distancing era after all. Coffee is a safe-ish compromise. I can pick a spot with lots of people. I can chug my coffee if the vibes are off and take off. I could wear my sneakers so that I could run if I had to. Standard first meeting protocol stuff. And while we're figuring out where and when he messaged, how about we get something to eat instead? I was a little nervous. That's a bit of an escalation from coffee, but if we got takeout and ate someplace public, it would still be safe-ish. At that point, I hadn't had a meal with another person in such a long time, so I said okay. He followed up with, great, I know this fantastic spot in Crescent Heights for a picnic. Whoa. You're thinking the same thing I was thinking, right? A picnic in a beautiful park overlooking the river valley and downtown. I'm autistic and not great at reading the room, but even I know that that's a huge escalation from coffee outside and getting into date territory. If that happened today, that would be a hell no. But I was naive and new in my girlhood then. And to have a meal with an actual person, oh my goodness, I wanted a meal with someone. We met at the park. It was beautiful, and he was a perfect gentleman. He didn't make any unwanted advances towards me. We ate, we talked, we shared in our challenges, we laughed, we enjoyed each other's company for 5 whole hours. Kind of lesbian, I know. By the time we parted ways, we'd moved our picnic blankets 3 times to stay in the shade, got sunburned, And I got to have a meal with a real live person for the first time in months. It was exactly what I needed. We've since drifted apart, but I still look back with fondness. Cute, right? But now hold on to your breeches and skirts, friends. Not a lot of skirts today. Here comes the heartbreak. It breaks my heart that we were that excited to meet, not because of COVID lockdowns. It breaks my heart that we'd never met another person that we connected to on a personal, cultural, and gender identity level all at the same time. It breaks my heart that he was a Chinese trans man, and I was a Chinese trans woman, and that was the first time that either of us had met another Chinese trans person. It breaks my heart that that was the first time either of us had met another person who understood what it was like being Chinese and trans in queer, overwhelmingly white spaces. It breaks my heart that that was the first time either of us had met another person who understood through lived experiences all the nuance and all the intricacies that come with Chinese and being trans. It breaks my heart that there are 1.6 billion ethnically Chinese people in the world, nearly 20% of the global population. Yet that was our first time finding somebody like us. Even if we use the conservative estimate that 0.5% of the population is trans, that would be 8 million Chinese trans people out there. Yet I am probably the only Chinese trans woman you've ever heard of, let alone met. This is why we need visibility. We need visibility so that those who are hiding can emerge from their self-censorship to have the opportunity to live in all their authenticity. We need visibility so that our youth will witness in us all of the possibilities for their lives and thrive unapologetically themselves. We need visibility so that my age peers and elders who didn't even know the word transgender while they were growing up, in us, they could see all the possibilities for their lives and thrive in all their late in life gender euphoria. And we are getting there. You being here is a testimony to our visibility. However, there is something we need, maybe more than trans visibility right now, and that's ally visibility. Allies, I am 100% calling you in, and it might not feel good. Stick with me, though, because you're going to need to be able to handle this if you want to be there for us when the rubber meets the road. In this time of rising global prejudice, hate, and violence against trans folks, if you consider yourself an ally to trans people at all, you need to step up. You have the privilege to potentially take a break and step back. Please don't. Trans folks don't get to step back from our transness. We don't get to take a rest from being persecuted. Right. We fight to live our truth every damn day in a world that would rather we didn't. You also have the power and privilege of being able to step up in relative safety. So use it. It's great that you're here for Trans Day of Visibility. It's great that you show up to the rallies and post on social media. Those are all good things. But you know what trans folks need? We need you every day in the streets. We need you every day at school. We need you every day where you work, where you shop, where you play. Now is the time to lace up your boots and pick up your brick. Now is the time to put into action all the things that you've read and learned about. Now is the time to create protocols for supporting trans folks in all of the places you go. When you witness anti-trans conversations, step up and question them. When you hear us being verbally assaulted, step up and speak out. When you see stones thrown at us, step up into the front. When you see us being physically assaulted, step up and in between. Allies, now is the time to step up. All the fucking way up. And then maybe we can have more trans visibility. Visibility that is celebrated instead of getting us erased. My trans siblings, nibblings, and elders, you have been and you continue to be so courageous in your effervescence, your sorrow, your anger, and in your sparkling tenacity for living. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being visible and for being a light for me and all the eggs out there who may or may not be ready to crack. Persevere. Love and care and community. Hold on to your joy. Our authenticity is right and our fight is good, even though at times we may stumble. Again and again, we will rise up the same way we have always risen. Thank you, friends. May your Transgender Day of Visibility be revolutionary.